Welcome to Iowa Speedway. We're watching Ultimate Conquest Online Racing's Throwback Indycar Series presented by 9-4 Motorsports. I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth tonight is Rocco Stallone. Sean Ambrose is behind the scenes working the cameras that Dougie Beard has provided him. Apologies for missing some of the racing. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. Right now out on track, Dan Guerin leads the way after our most recent restart here on lap 41. We've just ticked over to lap 42. And Rocco, do you want to give us a little quick update of what's happened in the first couple laps we've missed here?
Yeah, Joe, a little bit of a slow start. Had a couple guys go around. Had a single car accident early on. Then we had a couple guys collect each other coming out of two. It's been a slow start, but these guys are antsy and they're looking to go. Been some green flag laps since we came back, so that's so far so good. But hoping everybody can collect themselves. It's a real small track. Tempers and elbows are going to go up a little bit. So let's see if they can keep some green flag action going so we can get into this thing and pick it up.
Looks like top three are picking it up because they're starting to break away from the pack. Guerin, Crumry, and Schoen are pulling a little bit of about half a second over Andy Urick in fourth. And they've been dicing a little bit up here. You've been seeing some spotting back and forth, but we've been on some pretty fast ovals. This one's a lot shorter here, Rocco. Is it going to be a lot harder to pass because of that?
Well, yeah, you're going around this place in about 18 seconds, a little over that. And there's guys everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're up front or if you're in behind. You're going to have somebody behind you or alongside of you. You can see this race up here right now. It's getting real close. And this is early on. We're not even a quarter of the way through this race. We got some side-by-side racing. So you got to hold your line. You got to make sure you're in the line that doesn't kill your tires. Because if these guys run green flag long enough, the tires are going to definitely have a problem with, keeping up with the drivers.
You can see there's a change for the lead is the number 3. Paul's taking it up to the front. He's going to drift a little high off of turn 2 here. Schoen's going to be able to get the inside as he's overtaking Guerin as well. As he takes that bottom away. Actually, they come together. A little bit of contact between our two leaders. They're going to get away with it, but Schoen has to duck back down, pull off the gas, and give him some space. So as they come onto the back stretch, that's going to actually allow Ravon to catch up. Last round's winner at Las Vegas has closed the gap down significantly from fourth.
Yeah, Joe, I was listening into the drivers' meeting before the race, and they said they were going to throw yellows if it was something that iRacing didn't catch, since it was such a short track. Good thing that they didn't get together there, so we didn't see another yellow again. A good green flag run starting to brew.
Certainly is. Schoen catches up to the back of Paul once again. Paul covers him off, though, taking it down to the bottom line. One thing I noticed about this track when I ran a couple laps here recently, Rocco, is it seems like that bottom line is way bumpier than the top. Is that a danger for them tucking it down to the bottom like that?
Well, yeah, Joe, because that bump can throw you over that yellow line, and if you put any of these tires over that yellow line, at this track in particular, it might as well be ice. You put those tires even close to that paint, you're going to go around, and you might take a couple guys with you. So that yellow line, while it's fast, it's definitely dangerous. You really got to show some skill to stay there all night.
We still have all 24 starters in the race currently, although a few are laps down currently because of some incidents. Number 3 still retaining that top spot. Schoen just staying right with him. They're developing a train. Instead of the top 3, instead of top 4, it's now the top 6, going back to Urick and Garrett as well.
Yeah, Joe, it's good to see them start to bunch up a little bit. We had a bigger fight for the lead. Single file, definitely the way to be early on. Easy to catch that guy in front of you and stick it to that yellow line. Really no reason to go side by side with anybody right now. You're not going to really gain much and put yourself at risk. So I think patience is the game right now, and just see what the guy in front of you is planning on doing.
Saw a little bit of a look from Schoen. Just showed his nose, but it didn't develop into anything down into turn 1 last time. 200 laps that they're going to have to be running today, so there is a lot of times that they'll be circulating around here. Way up wide off of turn 2 for Dandy Dan Guerin. The 08 finds himself having to give up a little bit of time there. Is the wake pretty bad around here in these cars?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You're almost turning left the whole time, Joe. So you get a little bit out of that slipstream, and you're going to feel it. It's going to pin you down and make that back end want to stick. And obviously, if that happens, you want to go around, and it gets really loose really quick. these top four seem to be breaking away from the next two, and then there's a very large gap from sixth place to seventh place. We're almost at 3 seconds there, so that's a long way to go back there.
Yeah, and it almost, I would credit it to the fact that it seems they've kind of slowed that, or cut out a lot of the messing around up here with top group, as Rayvon is going to be able to get underneath the 08 of Garin. So they're going to go side by side. They actually might go three wide here because that's Scott Rupp down trying to allow them to lap him. Oh, he's going to be a little bit in the way, and thankfully they managed to safely get through. Rayvon still keeps that third spot ahead of Garin in the process, but the pass isn't done. Stan finally going to give it up. He's taking the alternate line to keep some air on that wing, and now finally can slot in behind the number one machine.
Yeah, and Joe, just taking a look back, it looks like at the end of lap 55, we saw Scott Rupp. He had a pretty exciting moment, went off track, allowed a couple guys to go around him, but that's why he fell a lap down so quickly.
And we talk about that gap to the cars behind. Nate Burke is up at the front of that. They've got Vigera in there, Yazik, Beard, Matrizion is in there, and a bunch more behind them, to be honest. They aren't exactly all single file. Most of them are, but there's a little battling up at the front of that group. You can see on your screen. That's Burke being attacked by Jose.
It's a nice little battle there. Looks like the inside line is going to prevail here.
At least for now. Starts to lose a little ground on the front stretch, but as they swing it back into one, looks like Burke's going to... Oh, Burke might be going for the over-under. Indeed, he is.
Nice little crossover move there, Joe.
Going to get him the spot right back into P7. Don't forget, some of these drivers want to be much farther up. Beard, who is third in the championship, is looking for so much more, and being stuck down in ninth is not ideal. There's still a lot of racing left to go, but he's got to start getting some track position so he can be up in that front group.
Yeah, Joe, we see a lot of dicing back and forth, and talking to producer before the broadcast was talking about how this really is not a fun place to drive. Beats you up a lot. Bumpers, bumps all over the place, trying to keep that line. And I think we're going to see these tires start to give way a little bit. This has been the longest green flag we've seen all night.
That's a good point. They're carrying a lot of speed through very tight corners. Trizion, now the one side by side, is actually on screen. Is this the leaders once again? Yes, it is. That is Garin up to the high side. And actually, no, he's on the low side. He's going to manage to get by Schoen. And Schoen can't, unfortunately, block off Rayvon. Manages to get through into third. More lap traffic in front of them. This time it's Timothy Bates.
Yeah, last week's winner, Rick Rayvon, back there in fourth spot.
We got a caution.
We got the yellow caution on the track.
See Eric Jeffers going slow. Yep, he had a solo incident. You talked about these tires. Oh, and the line. If we watch the replay on the number 4 car, I think this was exactly what you were trying to talk about earlier.
Yeah, right below that yellow line, Joe. Again, it's with these, especially worn tires, you get a little bit off that angle. There's no grip there. You're just going to go around. We'll see if that happened here.
Turn one. He is side by side. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Just touched it. Great job, everybody keeping out of him.
I was going to say, that was a nice little compact spin. He did that well.
Both he and those around him. We're going to watch it from another angle here. Everybody just kind of stayed high.
Yeah, it was a long spin. It took it a while to go around, so I think everybody behind him was nice and alert and aware to see that was going to happen. So good call by everybody behind him, and a good save by him keeping it off the wall.
All right, most of our leaders are now in the pits as we come back live. But curiously, one driver who was stuck in the mid-pack who did not pit, our championship leader, Paul Jenkins, stays out. Oh, it is a big drag race out to the end of the pit lane. And I think Rayvon took it in front of Crumry. And then Dan Garin winds out coming out behind him. Now I see a few others that stayed out. Takeshi Kita, Gaston Ariano, and Brian Peel elected not to pit this time.
Yeah, those guys might have been on got a new tires before. I think they may have each spent some time in the pits from some of the earlier incidents.
See one more ducking in. That's Hugo Galaz. He was involved in one of the early incidents. Now, I am not too shocked, to be honest, that Jenkins is going to stay out. Again, I had it in my opening script that I wasn't able to read, but he has not won a race yet, despite leading this championship. It just seems like it seems like he's got the race strategy, the race pace down, but not the overall pace.
Joe, I feel like we had this conversation 2 weeks ago, and we know how it ended up for this guy. But you just went on. I couldn't stop you. Go ahead.
Okay. This is true. I should remind our viewers who didn't tune in last time that he had a DNF last week and did not score any points. But in spite of that, he's still leading the championship. Now, speaking of which, why don't we take a look at that points championship and how that sits, since we're on the topic, just to give you a rundown of things, because I mentioned guys like Beard as well. Guerin is the one actually in second place, very close with Brian Beard. That used to be over 100 points gap. In fact, I think it was plus 200 points that he had over them before. But that has come down. Andy Yerk, who's been pretty fast as well, but hasn't really been able to get wins, is a few more markers behind. And then John Garrett rounds out your top five. Jenkins still the one they're chasing. And as far as wins go, Guerin is the only one in that top five who has had a win.
Yeah, that's something consistent racing can do. You might not have a win, but you could definitely be on top of the point standings toward the end of a season. So just a testament to consistency. And again, you may not finish in the top spot, but good wins and a consistent pace will always keep you up top.
Double checking with my our director here, if I'm correct. I believe that's the Terry Labonte method. Is that not? Or am I thinking of the wrong NASCAR driver? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was going to say, I remember there was one driver who had like a single win all season, but still won the championship. We're going to get the lights off on the pace car as Greenlee is now out and getting his lap back. Jenkins takes over the top spot and will lead them back to green.
Yeah, Joe. So again, we had that long green flag run. Hoping we can get another one here. These guys really seem to kind of sort themselves out, seemed a lot more patient on that last set of laps. So if that continues, we should see some good racing. But I'm glad to see a lot of those guys in the middle part of the field able to catch up, because the top six were starting to get away pretty quickly there.
All right, are we going to get another nice long run here? They were kind enough, now that we went live, to give us some good racing action. And that really ticked off the laps fast. Look at that, up to lap 71. We're restarting on lap 72 out of 200. The pace truck is in. Paul Jenkins is off as the green flag is out once again. Behind them, Andrew Peel giving chase. Takeshi Kita, who is in second, is split by that lapped car. And they've got Ariano, who's starting to hold up a bit of a train of cars, I'm noticing.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough start from about fourth spot back. Jenkins got a good jump, but we got somebody in the grass. He's spinning.
And we had another spinner on the backstretch, is Brian Beard. He's going to go a lap down by the time he gets going. Bennett was the one that spun on the front stretch. Some difficult restarts here. No caution thrown for either one.
Yeah, so I guess the stewards felt that he was not impeding anybody's progress. He was toward the rear of the field, so kept it green, kept it going. I think it was a good call.
Third place. Very close fight between Ariano and Brian Peel now. Peel, one of those ones that elected not to pit, but then we got the first driver who has pitted following them. Ray Vaughn already up into fifth. Can he get a back-to-back win here? We've had one repeat winner so far this season.
It's a good shot.
Down low, not sure who that was. Might have been Hugo Galaz. Rayvon's going to get a run to the inside. And he's going to be able to overtake Peel. One more to go, and he is up to the podium.
Taking a look at Arellano in third spot. This battle for third is heating up a little bit. Brian Peel right behind him with Rick Ravon in 5th spot. And it looks like some of those guys behind them are starting to bunch up a little bit.
So that was indeed Hugo Galaz, who was slow. And the stewards have actually told him he needs to hurry up. Is almost getting chopped off. Ariano has to back out of a move there.
And that was a major checkup, Joe. I think the discretion was the better part of valor there. He could have put his wing right in the back tire, but good reflexes on him. No contact. They keep going.
Can't win races when your car is in a heap at the side of the road. Meanwhile, Crumrye's now in the mix. There you see him in the black, white, and red.
Another one in the grass.
Low.
I'm not sure if there was contact on the inside wall, but we had another driver in the grass coming around that tri-oval. Oh, we saw that out coming. Alorano got himself into, I think it was Guerin.
That was Guerin. He's caught the car. Just car-to-car contact, nothing with the wall. And he does have some damage, though. That one on Ariano, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was a quick juke on the inside, and he got too much of Guerin. Guerin had no shot.
I'm going to watch it one more time, I think, just to get a better angle on that. Because, yeah, that was such a swift move. And he had the overlap. It's almost a chain reaction because he was kind of chopped off in front of himself as well.
Yeah, his two options there were either lift or try to go around the car in front. Unfortunately, it looks like he tried to go around the car in front. There just wasn't enough track there.
You're going to ask a race car driver to lift? How do you think that's going to go? All right, so another caution. Jenkins still leading, and now he's got track position. I can't imagine he's going to be coming into the pits this time like we're seeing repairs here for Guerin. At least I assume this is for repairs. Looks like Yazik also pitting. Brian Beard, no, he stays out. Bluen is in, and Greenlee is in. They are all on the lead lap towards the tail of the field, so this seems like a strategy call just to get themselves prepped in case they get a shot.
And it looks like our top three pretty much remained unchanged. It doesn't look like any of them decided to dive into the pits, so few laps on the tires, not too many, so I think they'll be okay.
Got another caution, so we've got a chance to talk about our highlighted drivers and their sponsor. The highlighted drivers are brought to you by Midwest Simulations. You watch the track, we'll watch the rest. Use the promo code THROWBACK for $5 off a set of their Spotlight's visual spotting system. Find out more at MidwestSim.com. Two drivers we have today. Well, unfortunately, one of them is Dan Guerin, and he is back out on track. It's, there we saw the track map there for a moment. Guerin in the 08. There's our onboard for him. Could have had a little bit of better view if we had done this sooner, sadly. And then Scott Roop is the next one in the number 74, who's just ahead of him. And that onboard camera sponsored by Midwest Simulations.
Some interesting color schemes we got going. I'm rubbing my eyes here trying to see if I need some glasses. We got some interesting combinations out there.
I do like it, actually. I think that's a very bright, cool looking car. So there's our two sponsored drivers, or at least sponsored onboards, I should say, for today's race. We'll try and check in with them as the race goes on. Hopefully they can get a little higher up the field. Scott Roop's currently running in 20th, and Guerin is down in 16th position. If they do go up the field, they'll give us some good onboard action then, I suppose.
Yeah, Joe, and just looking through the field, still got 19 cars on the lead lap. And I think that's the key here. You don't have to be up front because there's a lot of chaos going on, but you don't want to get lapped either. That's one of the things you got to try to avoid. So we'll see how that turns out, because you could end up lapping a field in a race like this on an extended green flag run.
I think, let's see, are the lights still on? Because I was looking at my sheet here and I didn't manage to check on the truck to see what sort of situation we've got in terms of that.
Yeah, we still got lights, Joe.
Okay, so we'll at least go around one more time. We're on lap 83. We're going to get restarted at the best on lap 85. Across the line for one more time. Only missing Timothy Bates right now. His incident running into the inside wall, which we didn't get to show a replay of, has sent him into pit lane, and I'm not sure. Yep, actually, he just disconnected as I was talking about him. That's our first DNF of the day, sadly. So Timothy Bates is out, and Hugo Laz now gets one more spot in the process.
Yeah, Bates was one of those guys that we saw come in and smack that inside wall around the start-finish line. We've seen a couple guys lose it coming out of the final turn there. So it should be interesting to see how much they can hold on to it once these tires get a little worn. And then once that fatigue starts setting in, because these bumps are going to beat these guys up a little bit.
Let's hope they don't beat each other up here as we get ready to go green, because the lights are off on the pace truck. Jenkins, who takes it up to the high side one more time, will have control. Can he get that elusive first win? Takeshi Kita behind him tends to like to gain positions. He started this race in 18th. He's already gained a lot of them. Green flag is out. And he's already going to be overtaken, take that third place, because Rayvon is not wasting time.
Yeah, Jenkins got a pretty good jump again on this restart. Popped himself to almost out a full second lead. Looks like Kita is staying right on his tail, but that was a real good jump by Jenkins.
So Rayvon's still got to get by Peel and the lapped car. So come around in the second green flag lap of this section of green. Behind them, don't forget as well, Paul Crumry, who has looked fast so far early on in this race. He's kind of hovering back there, though not terribly close to our top three quite yet. He's got a run on Peel. Is Peel going to just let him by, or is he going to stay out in hopes of getting this lap back? He's kind of not in a great spot for last round's winner.
Yeah, Rayvon started in 24th spot, Joe, and he's up here challenging for second.
There we go. Nice, easy pass. Wonderful job there from Peel to not get in the way of the leaders, to let them fight. On screen there. Look at how close everybody is, and Rayvon manages to get to the inside. He's got incredible pace. Jenkins doesn't fight it. He lets him through.
Yeah, and I watched him that entire lap, and Rayvon just had this tremendous head of steam for almost the entire lap. He went from fourth place to first.
Crumry now getting ready to overtake Kita. He's got overlap. Paul has the inside down into turn one. Kita just holding that second lane. Oh, big drift off the corner, though, from Crumry. Was that intentional? He's going to cut him off down to the bottom of the corner. Oh, we got a big wreck back behind them, and Ariano, I think, is one of them. Oh, more cars having big hits. I think Greenlee, and it looks like Travis Bennett as well.
Almost looks like Travis Bennett got the worst of that. Greenlee looks pretty smashed up, too. He took a tow. He's already out of the car.
So this starts with Ariano in the number 11. He's actually, it's going to be ghost contact with Peel. And I think Yerk got a small piece of it himself. I don't know how much damage he got.
Yerk is pretty bent up, Joe.
Let's see. It looks like everybody else involved mainly tried to avoid it. Garin and Yazik got a piece of it. Those are the ones that you just saw clip him. And then there's Greenlee.
Yeah, we got a number of guys already out of the car, Joe. Bennett's out of the car. Greenlee isn't, I can't even see where he's at. And Yazik's out of the car.
Greenlee got hit from behind, it looked like, on there, because his car started spinning before he even reached the accident. Guessing this is Garen's doing.
Oh! I think it was those secondary hits that did more damage than the first one, but that first one came out of nowhere. Wow. Whew.
So where is Garen able to get back out? Because they have one fast repair, and I wonder if he's already used it. There he is. Okay, so he's in pit lane, so he's rolling, and he's... Oh, it looks like he still had his free repair, because it's popped back into place.
Yeah, Joe, we see a lot with the open wheel cars. Sometimes you get the fast repair, but you still got to make it to the pits. And sometimes with that steering all towed in, it seems like it takes forever to get to your stall.
Now, don't forget, we also have the championship for the top qualifier, if we want to bring that up as well. This is brought to you by D2 Race Designs. Brian Beard is up at the top of that, and he's going to remain at the top of that because he took the pole today, so most points going to him. Frankenfield, Jenkins still close in the fight for second. And don't forget Andy Yerk back there and Dan Guerin, only 3 more points behind Jenkins, and Guerin only trailing Yerk by a single marker. And the Top Qualifier Championship, again, is brought to you by D2 Race Designs. They specialize in creating personalized and customized sim racing peripherals, as well as providing the RC racing community items that make their days at the track more organized and efficient. Season's top qualifier will win a customized button box, all thanks to the kind folks at D2 Race Designs. Beard right now is actually back in 10th place. He's kind of been mired in that mid-pack since we joined coverage here today.
Yeah, just as we go by the wall, we see all the tire marks already that have been accumulated, and we're just about at the halfway mark.
So, as we ride on board with some of our drivers, now on lap 95. Talked about those who dropped out. Bates was the first that we mentioned. I think Travis Bennett might be the next one because he's been in for a long time. Brian Greenlee is definitely gone. He has left the server. And unfortunately for Gaston Ariano, he's not going to be able to repeat the podium that he had last week because he has also now gone. That should be 4 drivers, I think, DNF'd. If Travis does not return to the track, he's still taking those repairs in his pit stall, which seem substantial. So I'm not confident that we'll see him come back into racing tonight.
Yeah, it's a shame to have a night end early like that, especially with two of the guys that we expected to be at the top toward the end, and they're calling it early. So unfortunate for them tonight.
Looks like lights are off on the pace truck. We're going to get going green on lap 97, just before the halfway marker. Ravon back up to the front. He's made a big splash here, and he gained a lot of positions with that win, up 9 spots just with that single victory. Imagine what a second one in a row could do to him. Now, what about my curse? Is Jenkins, well, Jenkins is down in 11th. He's still in it, at least.
Right. I think by this point last race, he was not in it. So we're good so far. He's on the lead lap.
All right, leader has control of the field. Green flag is out. Good jump from Ravon. Not so good from Takeshi Kita because Brandon Schoen for 3rd place is challenging around the outside. He's going to slot back in single file, though, as there's just not enough speed. Long way around of 1 and 2. In fact, most of the field pretty single file here on the restart. There is not a lot of action.
Yeah, I think it's a little early in the run to expect that much grip out of these tires.
Still another look from Schoen on Kita. Doesn't produce anything quite yet. They're starting to catch up to Crumry, though. He seems a bit slow. Now, this is fixed setup, so everybody's working with the same thing, except for the tires and any damage that they've got on the car. Surprised to see Kita and Schoen starting to roll up to the back of him. And in fact, now it's going to be Schoen on his gearbox as he finally overtakes Kita for 3rd.
Yeah, I think Kita just kind of settled back a little bit. He seemed pretty content with giving up those 2 spots there.
He doesn't drop off that quickly. I guess he knows he's got a bit of a gap back to Peel, who is in 5th, and he's dealing with problems of his own. That is John Garrett back there in the 6th spot, challenging him. They're the ones just a distance back in the red and white and the orange and black machine. I think Garrett's actually going to get this spot because he's going to get to the inside just behind our top 3 that we're watching. There he is, ducking underneath. It's the 94 demoted down to 6th position.
Yeah, we see a lot of good close racing. It seems these guys have settled out quite a bit, Joe.
And this isn't very frantic. Oh, and Crumry up to the top spot. When we weren't looking, he's managed to overtake Ray Vaughn. I don't think Rick is going to settle there. He gets right back underneath them. A little bit of a drift up. And
Oh,
we've got
big wreck,
caution.
big wreck. Our car's flipping all over the place in the back there. Looks like around 12th spot.
Yeah, Peel involved, Yerk involved, Nate Burke in another one. That might be day over for him. This starts with Brian Peel. Shortly after he got overtaken by Garrett, looks like Viguera thought he had some space. Here, we'll see it on the replay. There's Peel. Watch heading into turn 3 here. That's Viguera in the red and white machine.
Got a little racy.
The line away.
Oh. Oh, there's a couple of them.
That green and white car was Nate Burke that just plowed into him at full speed. And then Andy Yurt catches him.
I'm going to check this out from the onboard and see. Oh, he just tried to ride it out. Oh, he just got I think he just committed and unfortunately made the wrong decision.
If we want a good onboard, Paul Jenkins just blew through that with perfect timing and made a miraculous escape here. Watch this.
Wow.
Part.
Wow. And I think that's exactly what the other car was hoping to happen. It just didn't materialize that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's there's so little you can do in that situation, but I guess in Paul's case, it all worked out in the end. That's going to promote him up to 6th from that. That is beautiful news for him. Guerin, interestingly, who's following him in the championship, is actually directly behind him on track now. Did that cause us to lose more drivers? Yerk is in pit lane. Peel is in pit lane. I also see Hugo Galaz, who's currently 8 laps down from the leader. He's basically just been cycling around, kind of just putting laps in, hoping he can pick them off. And, well, it's worked so far. He was scored dead last when we started coverage. He's now 20th out of the 24.
There you go, Joe. Every little bit helps. He was the first car that had a little bit of trouble at the beginning of the race, and so far up 4 positions. So it's a tough day and it's a long day, but you get something out of it, so it makes him feel a little bit better.
On GSRC, we have started to call that the Dory Award. You just keep swimming, and it all works out in the end. That's what Galaz has been doing. Let's see if we get the lights off on the pace truck this time by. Schoen this time will be your leader. Now, if I'm seeing correctly, Viguera is up to 2nd. Lights stay on, by the way. Viguera was the other one that was involved in that accident, and I'm trying to figure out how that happened. Did other cars pit while we weren't looking?
I'm not sure, Joe. He's kind of just ghosted his way up there.
Yeah, I'm looking back, and we were so caught up in watching the replay. It looks like a few cars pitted from in front of him, and that's how he got promoted. Those cars that just pitted, Crumry, Rayvon, Kita, Garrett, Bluen, and Burke. Got such a good run, we got spoiled. Since then, it's been a few relatively quick greens. There have been at least a couple laps of green flag racing, a quick yellow rather, I should say. And lights do go out on the pace car now.
Yeah, we got 14 of the original 24 starters still on the lead lap.
And I think only 19 cars running, because Yerk has now officially DNF'd. He is gone from the server. Well, that thins the herd, and hopefully that will get us a little bit more green flag. Fewer cars tends to mean fewer problems. As they cycle their way down the backstretch here from Iowa Speedway. Thanks for tuning in. Again, you're watching round 5 of the Ultimate Conquest Online Racing's Throwback Indycar Series, presented by 9-4 Motorsports. It's being led back to green by Brandon Schoen. Waiting for it. Oh, checks him up big time. The green flag allows him with a very good jump. Figuera can't do much about it. He falls way back off of him. Jeffers, who is now in third, also had to slow up just as everybody else was accelerating. The Trizion has been promoted to fourth during that pit cycle.
Yeah, I definitely think Schoen might be getting a few YI-autas after that start. That was a rough one.
Got everybody napping. But is the slipstream going to pull Jose back in? He's kept it at about half a second here, and it looks like that's coming down somewhat. And he's bringing along some friends. All the drivers back down to, looks like as far as 7th place are being towed along.
Yeah, and it looks like, and I want to say it before they break away, but it looks like that they're starting to file single going around the corners here. Maybe lessons learned, realizing they got a little bit to go, don't want to do any more caution laps. It seems like they're single file almost all the way back until about 12th spot.
Yeah, I think you're right there. It looks like a lot of patience being shown this time through. As they start to get speed up, start to get heat in the tires as well. It is nighttime, so it's 84 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface. That isn't actually especially hot. It's could be slippery out there, and there's quite a bit of wind too. A little bit of action for second now.
And as I said, Joe, I knew that single file racing wasn't going to last very long, so we see a good battle for second place materializing.
Jeffers challenging Figuera. Figuera does not chop him off, coming down into 1 and 2. He's going to stay to the high side, but they stay wheel to wheel. Nutrizion behind them. And now, oh, he wanted to get down there, but the car bobbled, and he ducked back up. Looks like Christopher is going to be able to get to the inside of Figuera this time and take him down another notch.
Yeah, we're just watching Figuera getting freight trained on that inside line. He kind of fights back a little bit going into the turn, but once they hit the bend, he just watches the guys on the inside drive around him.
And then behind them going too wide as well. That's Beard on the outside with Dan Guerin to the inside. Two of our championship contenders. They don't want to throw this away, especially considering the one leading them is directly behind. That's Jenkins.
And Guerin back up there after getting a piece of one of those cautions earlier in the race.
Looks like Christopher's finally going to get that 19 car solidly into third. Another position lost for Figuera now that Guerin gets underneath him. Beard tries to continue the trend. Thinks twice about it, backs off. Could be third place now for Dan Guerin. Oh, first place
Schoen
potentially for Brandon Schoen. Gets to the inside of Jeffers. Excuse me, second place for... No, first place for Schoen. And Schoen who jumped everybody, or Jeffers that... No, it was Schoen that jumped everybody, so he got passed by Jeffers when we weren't looking. Whoa, and a spin off by one of our leaders.
Oh, was there contact, Joe?
I don't think so. Jeffers in the grass, no caution. He's able to return.
Nah, he just lost it. Definitely no contact.
He was on that tighter inside line. Is that a case where if you put too much steering angle in coming off the corner, it's just going to do that?
It was weird. It didn't look like the car was under that much duress before he lost it.
Yeah, I'm kind of perplexed myself. We'll watch it one more time here. And then when we come back, Guerin and Schoen are actually still fighting for the lead.
I don't know what happened. I don't know. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that he gassed it for some reason, but it didn't look like he needed to.
Back up front, Guerin leads Schoen. The Trizion is behind them. They cross the line. Lap 122 now. Schoen coming in wide. More of a shallow angle for the 08. Almost affects him coming off the corner, but not enough to lose the spot. Look at that.
And again, I think it's a good call by the stewards to let this race go. Unfortunate for some of the guys that may have checked up for the accident, but the race has been going. We got another guy off the track by the start-finish line. That's the third one we've seen tonight.
This one hit the wall, though.
Oh, yeah, he's banged up pretty good. That's too bad, but we see guys do. We've been seeing guys do that since the green flag dropped.
Must be pretty tricky in this setup, then. There goes the car to the inside. That's Krumrei getting lapped. Guerin still holds P1. Schoen taking little looks here and there. Strategically, though, Dan Guerin isn't placing his car in what would typically be the racing line around here. He's pulling a bit of a master stroke because Schoen just doesn't seem to really be able to do anything to get the run he needs.
Yeah, Guerin's kind of being wide without being wide right now. It's pretty cool to watch him do this. It looks like he takes the middle line over the start-finish line. Doesn't necessarily dive too close to the yellow in turns 1 and 2. You see him here. He's just going to hit the outside. He's, like I said, he's not being aggressive, but he's definitely making his car wider than it should be.
Being a point of frustration for the 98. Christopher in the 19, though, he's just kind of looks content to sit back there. He hasn't really been making moves to try and overtake for second. He'd be happy to sit on the podium, especially since we still got more than a quarter of the race left on the cards.
And it's the type of track that if you can keep the wings on the car, you're pretty much guaranteed a good finish. You don't even necessarily have to be on the lead lap. You just have to keep running.
Yellow number 19 lost the wings there because he fell back very quickly through 1 and 2. And Brian Beard is now on his gearbox. Beard looking to the inside. So we had another car down low. I wonder if we had another spin we missed. That's John Garrett. Beard side by side now. Jordan-themed livery of Matrizion. Oh, and another spin off. That one was Guerin. That was our leader. He comes to a halt, and that causes a caution.
Yeah, just as I was going, I was looking at the one we mentioned before. John Garrett did spin at the start-finish line. That's 4.
And it was an exact duplicate. The car just going away immediately on the exit. The difference is Guerin slowed the car up back onto the racing surface, and the stewards had to call the caution. Guerin, unfortunately, going to be at the back. There we go. There's the replay of it. Man, that happens so fast. I've never seen anything like that.
Well, Joe, I do want to say I do believe in the patch notes. I think the fixed setup for this card for this race tonight was actually tweaked a little bit. So I don't know how many laps on this track these guys have with this exact setup.
I mentioned the wind too. That could be, let's see. No, it shouldn't affect them because, oh no, it actually would, because it's a tailwind out of turn 4. So that could loosen the car up just as they're coming off.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. It does look like that back end is just lifted just enough to throw it around.
And it's 18 miles an hour. That's fast. I was going to say we have pit stops happening. Takeshi Kita, the only one on the lead lap that stays out. Brian Beard is not the first one out. It is Brandon Schoen, but Beard comes out after him. Ravon then, and then Christopher Matrizion.
And Joe, after everybody goes through their stops, we are down to 12 cars on the lead lap.
We've also lost Brian Yazik. He's DNF'd today. So we're down to 18 cars left running. Kita stays out. Last pit stop was 28 laps ago. He's got a fair few on those tires, but not an exorbitant amount. It's going to give us some time to take a little break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the last of today's round for the IndyCar Throwback Indycar Series. So stick around as we've got more action coming on GSRC. Welcome back to Iowa Speedway. We're watching round 5 of the Ultimate Conquest Online Racing's Throwback Indycar Series, presented by 9-4 Motorsports. And right now, Takeshi Kita is getting ready to take our latest restart here on lap 136. Brandon Schoen pitted and is back out in second with fresher tires, along with Beard and Ravon. So what can Kita do? Checks them up. That's what he does as we get ready to go green. Checks them up a lot. Look at this, but maybe too much.
Oh, there's contact. It looked like there was a bounce by Schoen.
And Peel as well. He made a little bit of contact too. Schoen down to the inside. He's going to be able to get underneath Peel. Behind them, Beard and Ravon side by side. Crumray, who is multiple laps down, is trying to get through to see if he can get his lap back and get back into things.
Does not look like Schoen was too far affected. As a matter of fact, he's got a big run now. Oh, wow. Big pull by Kita.
Keeps the car together, though, but Brandon Schoen easily sweeps by and takes the lead back from Takeshi.
Wow, that was some move.
We nicknamed him the Samurai in the PRL GTE series, and we haven't seen him there in a minute, but he is clearly still got some feistiness in him. He's trying some interesting strategies on these restarts.
I love that view with that old digital speedometer. I love it.
Certainly looks very cool.
And Joe, I remember seeing that and thinking how futuristic it looked.
Brian Peel, who's a lap down, is going to try and stay out of the way of the leaders now as he pulls off to the side. Ravon now catching up. Kita looking to the inside, going to try and take the lead away as they go through 1 and 2. Schoen gives him space, but I think he's going to carry more momentum off the corner, and Ravon even more so, but he's blocked in.
Ooh, real tight racing. It's the second time we've seen Schoen. Like, wow, three wide going into the start finish.
Ravon sold him a dummy. Ducked underneath, both of them carried the speed and takes the lead away. Kita loses second back to Schoen. What a move by Ravon.
that was some skill. A little bit of something else too, but definitely a lot of skill. Oh, and we got another one on the infield hitting that grass coming across the start finish line.
Looks like, is that Matrizion? Yep, he gets it going. Did he actually hit the wall? I didn't quite catch it. I saw him get the car pointed forward at least. Meanwhile, back up with the leaders still. Peel is unfortunately causing a bit of a headache for the drivers who want to fight for that top spot. Beard is having to go underneath him. Now that he's clear, he can see the top three directly in front.
Yeah, Joe, just to put a cap on Matrizion, he was in 5th spot when he lost it, and he kept it off the wall, but he lost all the positions he gained.
Fascinating thing is it's happened all throughout the field. We've seen the top person, the leader, spin off. Oh, and we got a caution. Trying to figure out who it is. Peel, maybe? Andrew Peel. Yep. Oh, and this is contact with Richard Swavely. This is a back marker, a lap down car, making contact with the car on the lead lap. Not what you want to see. So might not be able to get the replay. I think Andrew Peel is done. We should clarify, because I keep talking about Brian Peel. There are 2 Peels out here, so.
That's right, Joe, and I believe it was the father-son duo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that's right. Takeshi Kita gives up the ghost. He doesn't like those tires anymore. He's going to come into pit lane and give up that track position, but everybody else around him is going to stay out, so that'll hurt.
Well, that was a rough stretch of running, so of course it's the tires.
So we should be taken into the final quarter by this caution. Let's check in on some of our onboards, starting with Dan Guerin. And he's, oh, wow, great job getting back into the mix. Guerin up to 5th here on board the 08 with the Midwest Simulations on board. And then, do we still have Scott Rupp? We do indeed. He's 14th. He's only 1 lap down. He's fighting with John Garrett, who is on that same lap, but a couple cars ahead.
Yeah, a lot of these guys just kind of, like you said before, picking up laps. We see some guys maybe topping off some fuel.
Looks like it. Burke is in. And that's Galaz.
So.
Okay, so interesting development from the stewards. We have 34 minutes left until this race is called, I believe. So they can't have too many more cautions or they're going to run out of time. Granted, green flag laps do go very quickly here.
Well, happy Friday, Joe. At least from my neck of the woods.
I got a couple more hours. If they stayed green from here to the end, we're looking at about 17 minutes. But that's if they do that, and they could easily find themselves with more cautions the way things have been going. Let's go through your top 5 and where that sits, because that keeps getting shuffled around. Ravon is up at the front right now. Schoen has been pushed back into 2nd. Brian Beard, he is in P3. Our championship leader, Paul Jenkins, is in 4th, and the driver chasing him in the points, Dan Guerin, is directly behind.
It'd be interesting to see how those guys run if they stay close together pretty early in the season to really be concerned about the guy in front of you in points, but you never know. Might set the stage for something to happen later in the year.
We want to finish behind them because that's points that are lost, especially if there's an opportunity to overtake. It's just a risk-reward scenario, I would assume. He was willing to try and risk the car to try and get those few extra points. It could count later down the line. Let's see if we get the lights off this time on our pace truck. As we come up to that flag stand, Lights are off. We are going to get restarted on exactly lap 150, a quarter of the way to go. Down to 18 left with Hugo Glass. No, 17 left. Andrew Peel still taking repairs. Looks like he's not returning. So that moves Galaz now up to 17th. That's commitment right there.
Yeah, and sometimes you just kind of look at the guy in front of you and you start doing the math in your head and seeing if it's time for you to park the car and call it a night.
We've seen that plenty of times. I'm sure when it gets to be 8 laps to go, he's just going to say, all right, that's about enough of that. So Rayvon, as he comes down, does not go up to the high side like we've seen a lot of drivers do on the restarts. He stays down low. Green flag is out. Doesn't seem to hurt him at all. Interesting call, though. Schoen slots in behind. Brian Beard as well, riding in third. A little bit of a gap between the top three before you get a battle between Beard and Crumry.
Yeah, and Rayvon shifting gears a little bit with the quick start, just pegged it and went with the gas. Unlike the last few restarts where we've seen the leader check up, sometimes significantly.
Another bit of single file racing on the restart here. Jenkins starting to deal with Guerin behind him, who's right up underneath that gearbox and giving no space. He is ready to pounce if anything happens.
Yeah, and again, now's about the time where these tires are really going to start coming in. They were cold, so now they're warming up, and this is about the time I think we start to see these guys go from their single file state and start to do a little bit of side-by-side running.
A bit of side-by-side back there between Jenkins and Guerin. Guerin's going to get down to fourth. Could be another spot lost as Eric Jeffers is now in behind. Can't quite get the inside through 3 and 4. Trio is going to stay nose to tail. Ooh, and now he's got to the inside. Jenkins looking at losing yet another spot.
And that's tough. You just got to ride that outside line because you really can't cut the nose off of the guy underneath you. Even though you want to, you really can't because you're going to cause a wreck and a couple guys wouldn't be too happy with you.
Finally slots into line with him. Let's head back to second, third, and fourth. Rayvon hasn't been caught, but Schoen now sees his mirror full of Beard and Crumry.
Yeah, starting to bunch up a little bit, just under the 50 lap mark to go. I think we're going to see these guys start to get a touch more aggressive. I know we've been kind of seeing it tonight, but I think it's going to be a little bit more targeted with the laps dwindling down on here.
Schoen cutting that down to about 1/10 of a second now, up to Rayvon. These four looking very smooth. They've gapped Dan Guerin back there. And, well, what is P4? They've got a lap car in there. Crumry. Paul's still 3 laps down, so he is going to have a lot of work to do for any hope of getting back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, and Joe, just to show you how quick things can change, we were looking at Takeshi Keita. He was up top, not 10 laps. And as I say that, we got a spin in the back, couple cars in the wall. Contact back there.
Peel involved. Swavely, Viguera in there as well. Checking to see where this started. This was Viguera, actually, with Brian Peel. And once again, it's a lead lap car with a car a lap down. This caused a lot of contact for a few people. In fact, let's see. John Garrett, I think, had a little bit of it. Robert Bluen got a little piece of it in the process. You see Viguera, who's probably out of it for today after that. As we're watching the replay, Schoen comes in.
Oh!
Or no, Schoen stays out, and Rayvon, as we were watching Bluen's perspective there, Rayvon pits. Mixed up strategy here. Rick's going to lose a lot of track position. Schoen stays out. Beard stays out. Guerin stays out. Jeffers and Jenkins. Ravon returns to the track. Everybody else who pitted were laps down. In fact, I think Ravon was the only driver on the lead lap who pitted there. That is fascinating.
Wow. Yeah, it is. How many laps are on everybody else's tires, Joe?
28. Well, some are on 14.
That's still pretty.
Well, we saw that number for Kita. Remember, it didn't go great, but I mean, he also didn't fall too far back.
And you start looking at the numbers, it almost starts to make sense. 10 guys left on the lead lap right now.
This can't be a fuel call, I don't think.
40 lap? I think they got more
actually,
fuel
no,
than that,
maybe
right?
it is, because I'm seeing 67 to 69 laps that they can go on fuel.
Okay.
So 40 plus 29. Yeah. Oh, they would be shy. So Rick might be covering himself off in case it goes green to the end from here.
Well, I think with one more significant green, I think we can get within that time limit.
I don't think it's likely that we'll stay green all the way till the end.
Oh, not
But
likely.
But I mean, Rick is now set. Everybody else, I guess we've got this caution, so that should extend it somewhat, but that's going to be very tight. And if they have to save fuel and he does not, he's just going to blast everybody.
And not knowing if it's going to even come into play, but again, I listened into the drivers meeting pre-race, and with 10 laps to go, blue flag rules are in effect, and there's a strict penalty if you don't move over for the leaders coming through. If this goes green, that might actually come into play. So we'll see. We'll see if that rule becomes applicable tonight.
Well, let's hope that we don't have more incidents like we had on these last two cautions then, on those final 10 laps, or any at all, honestly, the lapped cars. Obviously, you never want to see any cars come together and bring out a caution, but so it's always a bit disappointing when we unfortunately get lap traffic tangling with drivers that they aren't even battling for position with. I think we'll get lights out this time by.
Yeah, and of course there's the physical element. It's a regular weekday for everybody, so who knows who worked all day, who didn't sleep well, and then it's late. Like I said, it's 12:11 here by me. It's a tough one. It's a late night.
Lights are indeed off. I think somebody sounds like they're getting their lap back. That's Figuera. Oh, no, maybe I was wrong. Maybe Figuera is not out of it. He's 2 laps down, though. He cycles up to the back of the pack. Let's see. Still at 10 drivers on the lead lap. And now down to potentially 16 drivers left running. Brian Peel and Andrew Peel both in pit lane currently. So even though they're still in the session, I'm not sure that they'll be able to keep going. Restarting on lap 164 with Brandon Schoen up at the top. He goes immediately. No games there from the 98. A bit of blinking from the car behind. That's Beard. Hopefully he gets that sorted out.
Yeah, something you hope he could definitely get through. That's never what you want to see, especially when you got behind him.
Less than 40 to go. Paul Jenkins in a bit of a fight with Eric Jeffers for 4th place, and Jeffers gets down to the inside in that red, white, and blue car. Just behind them, getting plugged up. That's Blue and Matrizion and Kita. That's all for position. They're looking eager to do something with all this speed that they're getting, but with no place to go, this is stacking up.
Almost 3 wide back there, Joe.
Oh, Kita has a bobble, catches the car. Could have been a similar situation, what we saw earlier, with someone spinning it down on that yellow line, rather. Ravon is able to go by with the loss of speed that Takeshi experienced. Oh, but he's on the outside. The number 1's having a hard time taking this 8th spot away.
Yeah, and Rayvon finding himself caught up in traffic. He was running up top, and he's got those new tires. So we'll see how much of a difference it makes. So far, it looks like he has the speed.
There, he finally gets by him. So that moves him up into 8th now. As we're watching this, I'm keeping half an eye on the leaders. We're a little up the ways because Beard is up to the gearbox of Brandon Schoen now. Schoen going defensive as well. Starting to feel threatened. If they fight too much, don't discount Dan Guerin.
Now we see Brian Beard making an attempt for the pass, and like you said, Dan Guerin loving seeing this. Look at that run he gets as he sucks up to first and second.
Doesn't complete it. Beard's still working on it, but he's got the inside line through 3 and 4. And look at Guerin, you're right. He's going to put his cards in with his teammate. Schoen, though, backs out a little bit. Now he gets to the bottom side once more. Fighting hard, Brandon Schoen making Brian Beard work for this one. Oh, and I think Beard got loose. He caught it, but he got very loose out of 4.
Yeah, losing a little bit, just enough to lose the lead, but good respectful racing up top. Real nice and tight and clean.
More important for Beard, he didn't spin to the infield like we've seen so many do. Less than 30 laps to go now. Look at them start to catch this top group. Because Jeffers, Jenkins, Bluen, Matrizion, Rayvon, they're all back there now. In fact, Rayvon's going to get another spot here, I think. There you see him in the blue and white overtaking the yellow machine. Oh, and a battle for the lead once again. Beard inside. Schoen didn't let him through last time with this same method. Did Beard learn anything? Is Schoen able to pull it off again? Coming off the corner. Oh, look at that car just not able to get the shot off.
Wow, that was some really great defensive driving by Brandon Schoen. On the outside, no less. He is fighting everything he can. And he he's so good. Wow.
I thought Guerin was going to think about 3 wide, and then he reconsidered it. Maybe later in the race here. He's still got some ways to go.
Oh, there he goes, Joe. There he goes. On cue.
And dupes them both. Can he complete it? Schoen to his outside. Beard couldn't do this before. What has Guerin got for him? He's already got a victory under his belt. Schoen does not. And he's able to get through, but he doesn't quite have the speed to complete it off the corner. Schoen down into turn 1. I think that's it. Give the lead to the number 08.
Oh, Joe, and while all this is going on, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place, all packing up, everybody's starting to catch the leader. It's getting good.
Correction, Schoen does have a win. Both these drivers up in P1 and P2 have a victory and are looking for number 2. Way up high there. That was Jeffers in the red, white, and black machine. Here comes Rayvon. Rayvon underneath Beard. Can he get himself with a win? Another win, I should say. Coming close to 20 laps to go now. Gloves are off.
Yeah, Joe, but again, they're being respectful. I don't think it's going to last another 20 laps, but they're giving each other room to this point, letting each other make the slightest mistake, and it helps everybody.
They work their way down the backstretch one more time. Rayvon up to 3rd past Beard, spying those top 2. Schoen versus Guerin. A little bit of a defensive line from Guerin. A little bit of a look as well from Rayvon, but almost gets chopped off, just given enough space through 1 and 2 by Schoen.
And some of these tires are going to start to peel off a little bit, starting to get into those high double-digit numbers.
Certainly will. And I can tell you from the official clock I'm looking at, 17 minutes left to go right now, so they've got plenty of time. Down the front stretch once more.
Wow, the entire
Another
line
look to the
got really
inside.
high on there. That was crazy.
Oh, and he's gonna
around.
spin it!
Oh,
Rayvon gets hit by Beard,
ouch.
by Matrizion! 3 major players taken out in a flash.
Oh, I think Rayvon lost it. I think he started
He did. He absolutely did. He touched that yellow line.
Oh, he got squeezed a little bit. Oh, and then he got taken out. Was it Brian Beard that took him? Oof.
Yeah. Beard was trying to stay out of it. Oh, and yeah, that was Beard that we saw on screen. And then poor Matrizian was just kind of an innocent bystander who was collected as well.
So that's going to end some nights a few laps early.
Believe it or not, Rayvon's driving what could be considered a car back to the pits.
Does he have a
Beard's
fast
trying to
repair?
as well. I think he hasn't been involved in things so far. I can't recall him being involved in a wreck.
This is what I was talking about before.
Oh boy. Oh boy. There's the walk of shame, and in this case there is the crab walk of shame.
But he didn't pit. I think he's on the yellow line now.
Yeah, because he was waiting for the pits to open, I think.
Oh.
There we go.
Had to get it wound up a little bit.
Yeah, and that ain't easy with how that car is. Okay, we will get a restart. Guerin is leading. Schoen is in second. Guess who? Jenkins in third. And how about a dark horse for you? What about Takeshi Kita?
Well, we've seen him. He was running up front, and then he was the last car in the lead lap. Now he scored in fourth spot. It's been up and down for him all night. He started 18th, so I think regardless of what happens, he could definitely give himself a pat on the back. A solid run. He's been running up with the leaders all night long.
Information for your fuel situation. We're 15 laps to go, and they are on lap 54 of the stint for Guerin, Schoen, and Jenkins. We're going to do a dangerous thing. We're going to do math on air. That'd be 70 minutes or 70 laps roughly. 69 to 70 laps. That's right there on the cusp. And since they've had a few cautions, I think they're safe. I think they can make it to the end.
Well, since it's math, Joe, well, I concur.
That's probably the best way to go for now. Okay, good news for Rayvon fans. He's on the lead lap. He's back out with the spare car. He did have it saved. In fact, we're still at 10 cars in the lead lap. Jeffers the other one to take advantage of that. Just ducked down pit lane recently.
White still on the pace car.
Can we keep this green to the end? We're down to 13 minutes to go. We've still got time. We had a nice green flag run there. I think even if we get a spade of cautions, it would only get very, very close, and I don't think we would run out of time from here. We get restarted because the caution light should go out this time, so should get restarted on lap 189. So an 12 lap sprint.
And I know we were asking about Ravon before, but Matrician obviously still had his fast repair too. We saw him get a good chunk of that, and he's still up there, scored in 7th spot.
That's a good point. I think he was able to get back to the pit lane a lot quicker than poor Rick. Boy, what a day of attrition, though. Even though we've still got 16 running, consider that was out of 24, and again, consider only 10 on the lead lap. But you almost have to say that all of the top 10 do have a chance at the victory the way things have been going today. This could turn on its head still.
Well, yeah, we've seen guys go up and down all night. I think it's just going to be a matter of who makes it through.
Indeed. Lights are out as we follow the pace truck, and Dan Guerin leads the way. Can he hold Brandon Schoen back? Can Paul Jenkins finally get that win? Could Takeshi Kita spoil the party? Nate Burke, amazingly, is back in 5th, but he's got a lot of lapped cars in front of him. Pace car is in, and Dan Guerin is off. Again, no waiting around this time. He is off like a shot. Jenkins gapped a little bit on that restart. Schoen, though, holding with his teammate pretty well.
Yeah, Joe, 10 laps to go. If this stays green, this is going to end very quick.
Gathers up behind the gearbox of Guerin. The 08's now got a challenge on his hands, and it's not going to be very long with a single car if they start to fight, because Jenkins will reel them in a hurry if they go side by side.
Yeah, these cars have pulled away from one another, but we will see them spring together. I think it's going to be an interesting last 5 laps because they're going to be all packed up by about then. 4 laps, I think, and then we're going to see these last 3 guys make up this top 5.
Officially 10 to go now. So we ride on board with Guerin looking back behind him. Across the line. Not making a move quite yet. Don't forget that blue flag rule for our drivers who are laps down as well. Have to let the leaders through.
Right, Joe, we got 9 cars on the lead lap.
Did we lose one? Yeah, I guess we did. Not sure what happened there. We were at 10 just a minute ago. Still not caught by Jenkins, though. Top 2 playing nice for the time being. How long is this going to last? Or is Schoen holding his cards close to his chest? Is he waiting for the right time to make the move he wants to make?
Yeah, we see single file all the way back to, looks like to the 9th, 10th car in line. See a little bit of double file going on back there, but not much. Everybody seems to be just content right now. I don't know if they're tired or what.
Watch the motion of Guerin. Look at him. Just takes it down to the inside and then brings it back when he knows that his compatriot there doesn't have a run on him. Every time. Exits shallow, comes back to the line.
Yeah, if he just stays consistent, I don't see any reason why he would win this race.
Again, I wouldn't bet against anything. We're down to 5 to go. If Jenkins wants to win, he's got to hustle and get up to these 2, and he's not showing signs currently.
Joe Guerin,
4 to go.
Little bit of a wheel under that yellow line. He had a wicked shimmy. I don't know if the cameras picked that up.
Onto the back stretch now. Guerin sticking to that line, preventing Schoen from having the opportunity that he wants. So what can Brandon do here? Could he try the outside maybe? He worked well with that before. Defense, but what about attack? 3 to go. Down the back stretch. Still got half a second over Jenkins. He does not appear to be into the equation. 2 to go this time by.
It looks like Schoen's going to get one real good shot at this. I think he's just trying to time it right.
This will be miraculous if he can do that. Oh, goes a little high, maybe backs it off a little bit. Is he preparing a run? White flag waves for our top 2, Brandon Schoen and Dan Guerin. It's come down to this. It's going to finish under green. Into turn 1, nothing from Schoen quite yet. Guerin's still ahead. I don't think he's got anything for him. Dan Guerin down through turns 3 and 4 is going to take the victory, his 2nd of the season here in Iowa.
It was a solid finish for Dan Guerin. Wow, he really closed that race out.
Schoen in 2nd. Jenkins with another podium on the cards. Kita with a nice 4th. Ravon, last round's winner, is going to get another top 5. That's going to take us to a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because on screen you're going to see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. welcome back to Iowa Speedway. It's time for the Rogue Energy post-race show. Rogue Energy drink is designed to replace unhealthy canned energy drinks, coffee, and even traditional pre-workouts. Rogue Energy is sugar-free and loaded with vitamins, antioxidants, and nootropics. Scoop, shake, drink, win. Use promo code UCORA INDY to get 10% off your purchases at rogueenergy.com. The results after this race, it was Dan Guerin taking his second victory of the season, and it was a tight one at the end. Brandon Schoen following him home, just could not find a way around, but Paul Jenkins, not sure that he'll lose the championship lead after this. We'll check the points and see what that shows. He took a podium with Takeshi Kita just behind in fourth. Rick Rayvon, he got involved in a late race incident of his own doing, just spun the car, taking it too low, but survived for a fifth place. Robert Bluen with a 6 was followed by Nate Burke in P7. Then you've got Christopher Matrizion, who finished in 8th. And the last car on the lead lap was Brian Beard, unfortunately. That's going to hurt his championship, coming home 9th, even though he was on the pole. And John Garrett rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, Joe, and as you said, most of these guys that I'm going to read, they were more laps down than one. Scott Rupp, Swagley, Crumright, 11th, 12th, and 13th, 3 laps down with Bagheera, and then we go back down to 8 laps in 15th with Hugo Galaz. Eric Jeffers, 9 laps down, 16th spot. Peel, 44 and 60 laps down, and then Yazik, 19th. And then we got the 20th spot go on there. 21st, Arolano, and then a few guys finishing behind him. So, Joe, I know we got some guests after the race.
Indeed, we do. We have Dan Guerin with us, our winner here today. Dan, congratulations on your second victory of the season. It looked like that one made you sweat a little bit. Were you nervous having Brandon so close at the end?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun for sure. Hometown track right here, well, home state track. A lot of fun. I was pretty worried about that last 20 laps because I knew he could get me if I messed up, and sure enough, I did nick the apron just a little bit, and he sucked right up on me.
This has to have been something of a frustrating season, considering so many of the drivers who have won races haven't been able to lead the championship. I'm not sure if you are leading after this, but it's going to be darn close. Is this a big boost for your championship run?
Oh yeah, definitely a big boost there. I'm just having a whole lot of fun here in this league. It's a lot of fun in these old Indycars here, and got some road courses coming up. And I'm not the greatest at road courses. I do all right, but I don't expect any kind of wins on them for sure.
Yeah, and the one coming up is not as common here on iRacing, at least on most schedules. Motegi Grand Prix course. Do you have much experience with that course? Do you feel pretty confident going in there?
I do feel a little bit confident going into that one. I've ran that track once in the Lionheart League there, and I ended up getting second to my teammate. So that was a nice little boost for me. And hopefully I can take that and go to the next race there and hopefully do a little better.
Yeah, another podium would be a good haul of points. Again, congratulations on the win. Anybody you want to thank before you take off here?
Oh yeah, of course, you guys, my family, uh, teammates, uh, Eric Jeffers, Travis, Brian, all them guys. Not exactly teammates, but we're all in the same chat and kind of help each other out. Of course, Midwest Simulations. Without these spotlights here, these suckers are really nice. If you don't have them, I would suggest getting them.
Awesome stuff. All right. That was our winner, Dan Guerin. Rocco has caught up with Brandon Schoen, who followed him home by less than half a second.
Brandon, congratulations on the second spot tonight. Fought really hard. You're up there toward the front pretty much the whole race. Slow start. So how do you get going after such a slow start? We had some green flag runs later in the race. How do you keep your mind focused while you run up front?
Yeah, guys. How are y'all doing tonight? I hope you guys enjoyed the show. That was a lot of fun. As far as staying focused, it's not too terribly difficult. I mean, it's just uh, look ahead, watch what's going on around you, and just drive the wheels off of it.
Yeah.
I started in the back. I screwed up qualifying a little bit, but those first few laps were crazy. We were 3 wide, several laps in a row. A lot of fun.
Yeah, and you definitely were one of the front runners all night. And as you said, it was a little crazy at the beginning. So you guys coming together so much during the race, do you watch the guy more closely? Do you have histories with anybody that you run with? Are you
Ye-
just hoping that you hold on for it, or are you just looking for that specific guy?
No, absolutely. There's a couple guys that I definitely watch a little closer than others, and then there's a few of them that I can really trust to run side by side with, and you definitely take that into consideration.
Very cool, Brandon. And good, like I said, second spot, so you get yourself a little bit of time. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank our sponsors, 94 Motorsports. In case you guys haven't realized it or heard about it, they're giving away free track time to the champion of the series. Looking forward to seeing who wins that. They're going to have to beat me to get it because I'm going for it too. Uh, but that should be a lot of fun to go for that. I hope everybody remembers to sign up for it and is really looking forward to winning that.
Well, you heard it from our second place finisher. You got to beat him to get some track time. So, Brandon, great showing tonight. And looks like for our third spot, we have Paul Jenkins, and he is with Joe Peak.
Absolutely. I've been doing my best to try and dig up and do some math to figure out what the points are after this. I don't know if you've already done it, Paul. You're still winless, but you came in leading the championship. You've lost a few here to Dan Guerin now because of him finishing ahead of you, but another solid podium. Is this still to plan for you?
Well, I mean, I'd rather be winning, but I'll take third every day of the week here. This was this was a grind fest and a lot of broken cars and broken dreams and upset people. So I am definitely happy to be where I'm at. I'll take solid performances over every day over the occasional win, the occasional DNF. So it's not the plan, but it's a plan. We'll see if it works out.
Yeah. And I mean, clearly, it's a strategy that's worked well for you since you've been up at the front. We've got Motegi next. Is that going to bring you that win that you've been seeking finally?
Yeah, I would definitely say no. I am not what you
Oh,
might call a road specialist. So I'm going to be concentrating on keeping it clean and getting a good solid finish. I enjoy Motegi. It's been a long time since we run there, since my ISOWC days. I think was the last time I ran any kind of Motegi road. So gonna be kind of memory lane out there, but I'm looking just for a solid top 10 there. I think is the best I can do, and just kind of take it home to Indy and see what we can do there.
sometimes that's what you got to do is minimize your weak points in that way. What about the rest of the season? Are there any tracks in particular you know that you're strong at?
Yeah, I think Indy is a good solid one for me. Richmond, I haven't run Richmond a lot here, but the last time I did in this car, it was pretty good. So yeah, I think and the 1.5 milers, they can go either way. Michigan is really a good one for me. So I think there's a couple of them coming up that I'll do pretty good. And there's a couple of them that are going to just kind of be a disaster for me. I'm never any good. I'm kind of garbage at Pocono and I'm garbage at Sonoma, and so we'll see how that goes.
Right. So, okay, I got some news for you. Barring bonus points, which I haven't entered in yet, you are 2 points ahead of Dan Karen now. So it's getting a little tight. Anybody you want to thank before you go?
Yeah. Just you guys for doing a great broadcast. I understand we had some technical difficulties at the start here. iRacing's being a little cantankerous lately, so good job sticking with it and getting us on there. Appreciate it a lot. Of course, my teammates at ROX and my adaptive teammates over at Skidmark for helping me out. And so onward to the next one, and we'll just try and get her home and keep her clean.
Great stuff. That was Paul Jenkins, third place finisher here today. And that brings us to our wrap up where we thank our sponsors. Once again, big thanks to Midwest Simulations. Again, if you want to check out that Spotlight spotter system that they've been talking about, you can get it with promo code Throwback on their website. And also to the sponsor for the Pole Position Championship, D2 Race Designs, where the winner will get a button box in that championship. Also to our sponsor for the post-race show, Rogue Energy. Of course, once again, if you want to enter the promo code there, it's UCORA Indy to get 10% off your purchases at rogueenergy.com. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts. They're listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Rocco, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check out our social media. Our Twitter is @GSR Channel, Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, we've got a merchandise store linked below. It's gsrc.storenv.com. But while you're down there, make sure and subscribe to the channel. All you got to do is click the little red button that says subscribe. The next race, as we mentioned, we're going from the Midwest here off to the Far East. That'll be in Japan at Motegi on the road course. Thursday, May 7th at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.